Welcome to a Psycho Sketch YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about the image of a woman in advertising. We'll understand with you this important topic and find ways to overcome it. Enjoy watching. Let's go. If advertising is the engine of commerce, it is often the image of women that drives advertising. What was that image, what is it now, and what will it be in the future? Are you ready? The first woman. Copywriter. The words misogyny, bullying and trolling were hardly heard at the time, since advertising was a man's business, and alternative opinions were left in kitchens and laundry rooms. But in 1886 Ellen Lansdowne Resor was born and soon became one of the first copywriters at the largest agency, J. Walter Thompson Agency. Perhaps her most successful case was an advertising campaign for Woodbury soap. Within 8 years, sales had increased tenfold. Ellen's team took care of the bonuses. For 10 cents, you could get a week's supply of soap and a color reproduction of the painting. In addition, all the posters had huge blocks of text detailing the benefits of the product. But the main point was to break puritanical patterns, which caused a strong reaction in society. Take the children away from the screens, the advertising slogan read, "A skin you love to touch." One picture showed an embracing socialite couple, the other showed a girl with a languid look, and a young guy strives for intimacy. Yes, in 1911 it was a real breakthrough, although around the same time a black guy was killed for simply swimming on the white part of the lake. Tar barrel. For most of us, the phrase "woman, your place is in the kitchen" is associated with a kind of fierce house system. Although the communists, on the contrary, drove all women into the factory. But a 1939 ad for Kellogg's harmless cereal had a very unambiguous slogan. So the harder a wife works, the cuter she looks, so the harder a wife works, the prettier she looks. And, of course, the picture shows a man in a business suit and a woman with a broom and an apron, gushed with praise. The Kenwood Chef from 1961 continues the kitchen theme. Its slogan is "The chef does everything but cook, that's what wives are for. The chef does everything but cook, that's what wives are for." Surely a man in a shirt and jacket and a woman in a chef's hat. In 1969, Tiplet cigarettes was a creative act, considering their flavored cigarettes the height of bliss for women. Accordingly, the picture depicts a smiling girl and a guy letting a ball of smoke into her face. The cherry on the cake is the slogan. Blow in her face and she'll follow you anywhere. Most likely, only in our culture does such a gesture mean a 3-letter message, but even without that context, the interpretation of such a gesture is quite unusual. In 1974, Playboy magazine published a minimalistic, but very capacious layout of the shoe brand Weinberg Masagic. Everything is simple. A naked lady La Pugachiva lies on the floor by her master's shoe. Any Labrador would have envied her satisfied expression. Checkmate goes to the copywriter, who came up with the slogan, "Keep her where she belongs, keep her where she belongs." And to finish the examples, a pretty harmless picture from a Calvin Klein jeans commercial. She's just a beautiful Brooke Shields in jeans and an unbuttoned shirt. Nothing special, except that at the time of filming, 1980, Brooke was 15 years old, and the tagline reads, "You wanna know what comes between me and my Calvins? Nothing. You wanna know what comes between me and my jeans? Nothing." Was there a social scandal then? There certainly was. Did Calvin Klein's sales go up? Sure did. Spoonful of honey. A huge collection of other examples of advertising discrimination has been compiled by Gene Kilborn, who produced the film series Killing Us Softly. Advertising's Image of Women, 1979. Gene very clearly and professionally laid out oodles of cases and showed how the image of women in advertising kills them softly. Although such protest analysis was rather the exception, it motivated the development of a feminist movement whose actions were changing the advertising market. The image of women progressed with each decade. If in the 50s women were divided into secretaries and housewives, then already in the 70s there was a businesswoman in a business suit. If earlier in sports advertising girls were in the role of mannequins, then later companies began to invite the real athletes. The development of science has reached a staggering fact: a woman can drive not only a food processor, but also a motorcycle or a bright sports convertible. At all times, women's rights activists and fighters have motivated companies to take a more equal and less formulaic approach. Take Harley Davidson, for example. A 1950 poster shows a quite equal couple. Yes, a man behind the wheel, yes, a beautiful girl is a good motivator for purchase, but the presentation differs in times from advertisements of European companies. On the majority of posters of Italian producers it is the same nudity. On a model of Harley-Davidson of 1963 there is a revolution, a girl stands on the foreground. Of course, no one departs from the fact that the heroine must be attractive, but what image? Worker, policewoman, military. Another example of total equality was the Chesterfield cigarette ad. So what? It's 1942 and the agenda is the same. The fight is just beginning. The global advertising market is constantly evolving, and there are always discontented people who will stand up for their or someone else's rights. Just 2 years ago, girls who did not fit the pattern of models staged protests under Victoria's Secret, shouting slogans about fallen angels, and that fashion had failed them. Their main complaint was that there were no transgender and plus-size models in the shows and advertisements. Marketing director Ed Razek, who has been involved with the brand for 20 years, was quoted as saying, "They just didn't fit the brand." Then he was forced to apologize and soon left the company, and Victoria's Secret hired the first transgender model.
Conclusion. In a little more than 100 years, women have completely revolutionized the advertising market. From an object somewhere in the background, or just a beautiful object a la ashtray, they have become a powerful force dictating their rules to brands. Now women decide who and how they want to be seen in advertising. They don't mind buying Dior perfume with Hollywood actresses on the posters, but they no less want to see lingerie models on girls who don't fall into the 906-090 range, and it's pretty clear that this is far from the end of their triumphal procession. There are hundreds more changes to come. This situation frightens many, and many people are disgusted, and often not because of the staples, but because it is quite possible to go the other way. For global brands, the task of creating ads that are not demeaning to so many voices often becomes impossible, and they fall into the trap of overplaying their hand. Will they use sexuality in their ads? Yes. Will these brands be bought? Yes. What is in question is whether they will live long enough. Now might be a good time to rethink your strategy and advertising pitch to get on the wave, not under it.